Hey, this video that I'm uploading this time um, has some more to do with me and everything, and it's like still a blog video and whatnot. But it's regarding more of a few questions that people might have, maybe not regarding music, but something else. But I still wanted to contribute it to the YouTube community in case anybody's really curious about what kind of experience it is. And this experience is what it's like to be part of a military family and growing up in a military family and what it's like to live abroad. Okay? Um, for one, I don't really consider myself to be as adventured or like as well ventured as maybe some other GI brats because I only got to live abroad in one other country, which was Japan. But other than that, my experience, um, you know, that I had with that regarding that is something that I can still talk about. So for anyone who's really curious about what that's like, and just wants to know about it, so you maybe feel less jealous or whatever, I can share that with you. Um, so I started, I'm a U.S. citizen, and I grew up here in the United States. I was born in Virginia, and I grew up in Jacksonville, Florida, and I was there until fourth grade when I was informed by my dad, who was in the Navy at that time, that we were going to move to a new place, and this new place was Japan. Actually, I think I had like two choices. I could either go to Japan or go to Germany, and my dad was like, wavering between the two, I think, or something, because he asked me like what I would prefer. So actually, my mom and I both kind of voted to Japan only because it's closer to the Philippines, and ethnically, that's my origin. So, um, yeah, and apparently, like my my you know elementary school years didn't get to be finished in Jacksonville because I had to basically finish my last year of elementary school abroad. So I can talk about that actual trip and let you know what it was like. Um, Moving to Japan was um, it was an experience that made me a lot braver because I didn't really know exactly what I was going to get into when I moved there. All I knew was, I was going to go to Asia. And for all I knew, I mean, like, Japan was really close to China and everything. I thought that Japan was going to be kind of like China, but in many ways it is similar, but there are a lot of things about it that are also different. Um, so where I moved to was Yokosuka Naval Base, which is located in central Japan in the Kanto region in Kanagawa. And that is a naval base where there's an elementary school, there's a middle school. I went to both of those. There's also a high school. And I made a few friends there. Some of them, I'm still in touch with on social media and everything. Um, some not, apparently, but it's okay. Um, but anyway, when I moved there, it was kind of like a bit of a culture shock for me at first, because um, even though I lived in an American base where everybody did speak English, we were kind of enclosed in an area where once you step out of the gate, it's kind of like a different world. It's actually like Japan, Japan. It's not like Japan with an American, taste and everything, where everything is American practically. It was really Japan. So people spoke Japanese, all the stores were Japanese, all the books were in Japanese at the bookstores, store names were in Japanese. I couldn't read anything at first. I was like crying to try to find a bathroom like the first week that I was there. and um but like I thought that it was really interesting at the same time, because everything was so new. Everything was so atarashi. I did learn a little bit of Japanese, not just then, but afterwards too. So living in Japan actually did affect me because afterwards, I was more challenged to like learn more Japanese because I didn't learn. I felt like I didn't learn enough while I was there. But anyway, um, that that first week when I was there was probably the worst because that's when I really had to adjust. I think that even like that first week, I was like, I just I just got there like the second week that school was supposed to start for fifth grade, so like I was like trying to catch up and everything, you know. And then that weekend was when I went out to kind of see what it was like, and then I made a couple of friends and everything. And I lived okay, so like the housing there. So when I first got there, I was like staying in a hotel that like for like military personnel. But then after that, I was able to go to the place, like the apartment where we were um, like assigned to stay, the like our own housing, military housing. And um, so the military housing that we were in was like a high-rise building. It was a tower, and it was really nice because there was an elevator, but also stairs, and I learned that it was earthquake-proof. So Japan is a country known for a lot of earthquakes. So like if there was an earthquake, the building would actually sway to the motion of the quake, um, to the jishin, and it wouldn't collapse because there's like rubber, and not only rubber, but I think even like springs that help the whole building to stay intact while an earthquake is happening. So if you were on an upper floor, like for instance for me, I was on the fourth floor. Um, it wasn't too high, but I could still feel tremors. You'd feel the building shake, and like if it was like a 2.0 earthquake, like I'd hide under the table like just to make sure everything's okay. If it gets worse, then I'd have to stay there like longer. But most of the time while I was there, I never really experienced any major quakes. I left before the major earthquake happened, so I consider myself lucky because I do know that some of my friends who did stay there actually experienced that later on while they were, still there. So, that was really unfortunate. But I consider myself lucky that I didn't experience such a traumatic experience such as that. So, but anyway, like going to school in Japan as a military child, it was pretty cool because like it's like almost like an international school. You got to meet a lot of people from all over the United States because the people who were stationed there were not just from one state, like not just from Florida, like for in my case Florida. They were from other states like maybe Virginia or Hawaii or California or Washington State or other states. So, and some of the people were even half Japanese. So like you got to meet people who were like mixed, and it was really cool, and on top of that, we had field trips. So I only got to go to like one of the two field trips that I was able to do in fifth grade, and that was in Kamakura. And I really enjoyed it because I got to see I got to see a lot of the views in Kanagawa, and also like I'm not sure if I went. I think I did. I went to the Daibutsu, which is the Great Buddha in Kanto, and I got to see it, and I got to experience like hiking, like to go up like um, trails like to the temples, and it was really really neat. And I got to do that with my classmates and everything. It was really nice. Um, Unfortunately, the other trip, which was like going to Chiba, was one that I skipped because I think my parents didn't want me to um, risk being on a ferry for so long. So I ended up not going to that. But otherwise, that was fine. And school-wise, it was just like, any other school here in the US. I had my regular core classes like science, for fifth grade, like science, social studies, English, or language arts, I'm sorry, language arts and math. And then there was also, uh, they put me in a talented and gifted program because of like how well I was doing, in like for my grades. And then, um, and I got to go to that for a while like some of my other classmates were in math class for fifth grade. And then there was also PE, and a ton of other electives. Like host nation is definitely one thing that is super special about being in a military family and going abroad. Because if you get to like study somewhere else, let's say Japan or Italy or Germany or somewhere, I'm not sure if Italy has a place, but you can learn the language of the host nation. And so in this case, and the culture. So in this case, I got to learn like origami and sushi making and basic Japanese phrases in this host nation class. And I got to learn my name. I got to learn how to write my name and the colors and things like that. So then there was music, and there was also what other electives were there? Art. I think there might have been others that I might have forgotten, but there were elective classes as well, like special classes, special classes outside of the regular core classes. And I'm not saying special like special education, like I mean special is like they're like elective, but they're not elective because they were assigned, you know what I mean. So then after 5th grade, I had my promotion ceremony, which was at the Benny Decker Theater on base. And after that, I went to middle school, to Yokosuka Middle School. And at Yokosuka Middle School, there were a lot more things going on there. It was a 3-story school, so tons of stairs, not just one set of stairs. I mean, like, I think there were like maybe 3 or 4 or 5 sets of stairs, or maybe even more, like, and then tons of rooms, classrooms, and lockers. And then there was like this A day, B day thing where like on A day you had a certain set of classes and on B day you had a certain set of classes, because like you had like 8 classes to go to, and I think like I had 4 classes one day and then another 4 classes the next day. If I'm not mistaken. I'm not really sure if I remember it all correctly, but I think that's what it was. Somebody can correct me if they're from this group of people. You can also tell me if I'm wrong. I really forgot. It was been such a while. But in that in 6th grade, I had integrated science, and I had social studies or history, and I had PE, reading, language arts. I had electives. So this time it was called electives because they weren't assigned to you as like special classes. They were electives, but in a way they were kind of assigned because they were random. But like you could go to the administration and tell them that you wanted to take a different class if you wanted to. But I didn't complain about it, so I never complained about it in 6th grade, so I was okay with what I took. I took Japanese 1A for 1 semester, which was really interesting. My teacher was, I still remember her name, Nakayama Sensei, and she would always like have us say "Ohayo gozaimasu" when we went into the classroom, and it was like we would speak as much as possible. We would speak Japanese inside that room. It was so cool. I really liked it because it was like I was in a Japanese middle school for that particular class. And then for the other half of the year, for the other semester, I think I was taking like creative. I was taking like, I think it was like some kind of like arts class where I was doing pottery, because I remember I made a mug. Actually, it's right there behind me, next to my bed. I made a mug that I had to like put in the oven and have it like put in the, I'm not sure, glazed or something. I forgot what it was. But I learned how to make a lot of different art. I think it was just like 2D/3D art or something. Yeah. And what other, gosh, there were other classes like math, and what else am I missing? I had a chance to take computer science. I remember I had a chance to take computer science, and I had a class for like homeroom seminar, in which I was like, basically it was like study hall. And then like 1 year, like, or not 1 year, for like during Christmas, like I'm not sure if I was in study hall for seminar with my homeroom teacher, but she asked if I could play piano. for the choir, and I did. And that was really, really cool. I played piano like for the song Breath of Heaven for the Christmas concert, which I was really proud of, like for myself, because I I like was able to play it with the choir. For me, that was a big deal because like as a sixth grader, I was really nervous about like performing in front of a crowd of people. um, uh, I was also performing with a choir, like accompanying a choir, like at that age. That was a big deal for me. I'm not sure about now. Things have changed like a lot since that time, like since 2005 and 2006 and so. Um, but yeah, okay, so here's the thing. So I want to let you know. So after sixth grade, I decided on my own that I wanted to move to, the U.S. again. I wanted to go back to the United States. So that summer, I did decide to move back. And I will say that my time away, when I was in Japan, kind of was like almost like a dream. Because when I got back here, like, it felt like everything that I remembered was like had changed. Even if it was just 2 years, like I really did feel like I had time traveled in a way. Because the music on the radio changed. That was the first thing I noticed. The music on the radio changed. It like well, it did change, but I think that's only because I moved to Gainesville and I didn't go back to Jacksonville. So if I had moved back to Jacksonville, I used to listen to like Light 96.1 on the radio, and then when I went to Gainesville, I started listening to 98.5, and the music was kind of similar, but the songs that started coming out were a little bit different. And 105.3, for example, is another radio station that's here in Gainesville, and it has like more modern pop songs. And the songs that were there, like that were being played, were different. I don't know, it just felt different. So like I felt like and then also television. Television changed. When I got back here, like I felt like the TV series were like quite different, because when I was overseas, the networks that were there were like military networks, and I think that the what was televised there was a little bit different than what was televised in the mainland US. It's probably more similar to like maybe like I'm guessing, okay, it could have been similar to what was like maybe broadcasted in like Guam or something maybe, but it was a little bit different, although it was similar because it was still Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon and things like that. And my parents also, would watch the Filipino channel and things like that. But then, I got here, and then the kinds of shows that were here were not exactly the same, So that was one thing about, being in a military family. When I moved, there was a bit of a culture shock, and when I came back, I had to readjust as well. And that's just an example of one move, okay? I'm not exactly sure how other people might have experienced it. If you've been to many other countries, please feel free to comment below and let me know what your experience was like if you were in a military family. And I'd love to hear from you. But like otherwise, like I just, wanted to let people know about like my experience. And yeah, like, and if anybody was like really like wondering like, maybe I don't have any videos right now about like Japanese, but maybe in the future I might, share a few things about my interest in Japanese culture. But yeah, if anybody's wondering about why I'm so interested about it, that's one reason, is because of the fact that I did live there before. So yeah, in a sense, like I think it's really important to just be really aware of, of what other people are going through, and be aware of the fact that yeah, there are some people here in the United States who get to live abroad and do that because they are children of military personnel. So yeah, hopefully I hope you have a great day, and again, if you have any questions, just let me know in the comments, and subscribe for more videos from me, and I hope to see you all soon. Bye!